fan of the US, the UK, and France attacking Syria over the so-called chemical weapons attack, but I'm also not a fan of the over-the-top negative reactions toward us for doing it, nor am I a fan of the way too soon reactions. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today, of course, we got to talk about the Syria attack. We got to talk about the chemical weapons attack that prompted it, or the alleged chemical weapons attack. We got to talk about the reaction from the Russian government, from Syria, from other countries, from the Republican Party, from the Democratic Party. We got to talk about what actually happened, why it happened, and a few other things. But first things first, let's get into the why it happened and what exactly happened. Now, there was an alleged chemical weapons attack earlier this month, April 2018, that was allegedly done by Bashar al-Assad against, quote unquote, his own people. I doubt that actually happened. I've seen interviews with Bashar al-Assad before, and he strikes me as a regular guy, doesn't really seem to be involved in any kind of warmongering. It doesn't make any sense for him to attack his own people. There was a man that was on Sky News who was breaking it all the way down for an anchor, and he got cut off right when he was getting to the juicy part. Let's check it out.
Do you think anything what we've heard from either Sergei Lavrov or indeed the Russian ambassador has made it more difficult for the UK to launch any kind of attack without putting it to Parliament?
Yeah, I think quite apart from all that, the debate that seems to be missing from this is, and this was actually mentioned by the ambassador, was what possible motive might have triggered Syria to launch a chemical attack at this time in this place. The Syrians are winning. Don't take my word for it. Take the American military's word for it. General Virgil, the head of CENTCOM, he said to Congress the other day, Assad has won this war, and we need to face that. So, and then you got last week the statement by Trump, or the tweet by Trump, that America had finished with ISIL and we were going to pull out soon, very soon. And then suddenly you get...
Okay, I'm very sorry. You've been very patient waiting for us, but we do need to leave it there. I'm very sorry. Thank you very much indeed. More to come on Sky News. Do stay tuned.
So you see what I see, you hear what I hear. I think he was laying the case out pretty plain and clear. Why would he attack anybody in this country that's not a terrorist? For what? He's winning the war. Why would he use chemical weapons? Even if they were terrorists, why would he use chemical weapons? It doesn't make any sense, especially since he has help. He has Russia there. He has China there. He has, I think, Iran is there. Many other nations are there helping him fight the terrorists. So why would he use chemical weapons? It does not make any sense. The Russian government came out and said that Assad was basically framed by the UK. They staged the attack to prompt the US, UK, and France to engage in some kind of retaliatory attack. And I think that's probably true. I'm not really sure if it's true that the UK did it, but I'm sure that it was not a real thing. It was a false flag. It was staged to make us act. However, I don't think that we did what people are saying that we did. Now, I've read a lot of reports. I'm seeing a lot of different things. The first thing I searched for is death toll. How many casualties happened as a result of the U.S. striking Syria? I've not been able to see anything about that. Matter of fact, I see the opposite. I see that Assad was posting pictures of a research lab that was bombed out. And that's pretty much it. I've not heard about any kind of casualties. And that's very important because Russia is right there. Like I said, Russia is right there with the Syrian troops, with the Syrian army. So if an attack was to hit the Syrian army, you may kill a Russian person because they're embedded inside the actual Syrian army. OK, and Russia came out and said already that if you hurt one of us, now you got a problem. It's going to be an act of war. And we don't want those problems because Russia has big time artillery, in many cases bigger than ours. So that is not a fight we really want to get in. That could actually kick off World War III, but I digress. My whole point is that it would not make sense for us to attack them. And if we did attack them and hurt them, there'd be a big price to pay. All I've seen in the news reports I've read is that buildings were attacked, but the buildings were evacuated beforehand. Now, I said this before on my live show on ABL Live, that if there was to be an attack from the U.S. against Syria because of the so-called gas attack from Assad, that it would just be a show of force. Nobody really get injured. The same way we attacked that air base earlier in the presidency, but nobody was hurt. It was evacuated beforehand. And it was just basically dropping the bomb on an empty place, making a mess, destroying some aircraft, but not taking anybody's life. It's not like what Obama did with the drone strikes and stuff like that, which is a whole different story. And it's kind of funny seeing the Democrats react. A lot of them are really against what Trump is doing. However, I don't see them bringing up what Barack Obama did with the drone strikes and whatnot under his presidency. I've not seen Trump say anything about trying to kill civilians, American people, or anybody else with a drone like Obama did. So that's pretty weird. The reactions I'm seeing, I think, are over the top for a simple reason. First of all, people on the left are going to react in a over the top kind of way because they don't like Trump already. So if he does a thing that they think is somehow wrong or it's evil or it's questionable, they're going to react in a way that is not normal for anybody else to get reacted to, if that makes any sense. If it was Barack Obama doing this, the reaction would not be anywhere near as strong. Even if it was George W. Bush, when he was the president doing this, the reaction would not be as strong. I think social media is fueling people to have these over-the-top reactions on the left. And on the right, people are talking about, well, you know, I was a Trump fan, voted for him from the beginning. Now I'm out. I hate Trump, F Trump, all this, that, and the third, never Trumpers. It's like people that were solidly on a Trump train, being a conductor, wearing a little hat and everything. Now all of a sudden are jumping off the train. It's like, wait a minute, what are we doing? Is it that easy just to say that you're not involved with the conservatives anymore, with Trump anymore, just this thing that you don't agree with? And then the reaction is way too soon. Because like I said, I've been reading stories all morning and then some of last night. I've not seen anything about any casualties. I'm not saying there is none, but I've not seen anything. The buildings were evacuated. It was the same thing that happened earlier in the presidency where he struck Syria at an air base and nobody got hurt. Now, I personally don't see the point of destroying aircraft or destroying buildings. What are we really doing? I know that there's a greater force behind all of this, you know, shadow government, whatever you want to call it, that's forcing us in that direction. However, I don't see anybody actually getting killed or injured due to these impromptu attacks. One thing Trump said during the actual campaign time was that he would not be the type person to announce when he'd strike, he'd just do it. But this whole thing with Syria was announced well beforehand, so they had plenty of time to evacuate. They had plenty of time to plan. I don't see this as a really bad thing that he's doing. Personally, as I close, I just want to say that I'm totally against being an interventionist. I don't like war, unnecessary wars that we fight for other people that don't help our own interests. I mean, because really, why are we over in Syria? Okay, they have human rights problems, whatever, allegedly. But why are we over there? There's a lot of countries in the world that have issues, but we're not going to be fighting everybody's wars for them. We cannot be the police of the world. However, in this situation, I'm not really sure what to think because, like I said, I've not seen that anybody was injured, anybody was killed. There were alleged deaths and injuries from the alleged chemical attack, but who did that and why? That has to be the question we ask. I think rather than just condemning Trump, rather than just saying, I'm a never Trumper now, although you voted for Trump and you had to make America great again in the whole 9 yards, rather than saying that, we need to ask what's really going on, who was injured, why was it done, and what are the greater forces that are behind all of this, what's driving Trump and every other president to kind of toe that line of war, although I don't see Trump being engaged in a whole lot of war. And I got one last thing about the border wall. I've heard that Trump wants to take troops from Syria and bring them to the border wall. So if that's true, then we're talking about de-escalating the situation over there, or at least removing our presence. And like the man said earlier in the clip, the Syrian government is winning. The people that are fighting the terrorists are winning. ISIS and all of that, they're starting to dissipate. So why would we need to have more troops over there? And why can't we bring some of them back home? I think at the end of the day, as I close through this time, we're going to see less troops over in Syria. Donald Trump came out, I think it was on Twitter this morning, and said mission accomplished, which means there was one strike. It was directed. It wasn't really trying to get involved with the ongoing conflict. It was a one strike deal, and that's it. We're not going to be over there just tomahawking Syria repeatedly over and over. Although I'm still kind of stuck on the whole thing about them being attacked at all. Why do we need to attack them? What is the purpose? I know this is going to be a hot button issue. It's going to be a point of contention, but I want to hear you guys' comments. What do you think? Do you think that the attack on Syria was unwarranted, unconstitutional? Was it illegal? Was it an act of war? If you think so, please explain to me why. Or do you think that the attack on Syria is not really as serious as we're making it seem? It's kind of just a show of force. If you think that way, please let me know. And any other thoughts you have in your mind related to this, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.